going to get your passport, or there are a lot of things that, I mean, for people who innovate, know that there are solutions. But yeah, we'll get there. So thank you once again, Ade Bajomo, President, FinTech Association of Nigeria, for that inspirational opening address. You've set the stage of what today will look like, and we'll really look forward to an exciting day. All right, remember the hashtag is hashtag WFF2021. And this is the World FinTech Festival, the Nigerian event, which is in partnership with SFF and the FinTech NGR. All right, at this point, we'd like to call it our second, our keynote address. If it's online, Umar Ahmed Bello, Director of Currency Operations at the Central Bank of Nigeria. He will be speaking on the eNaira and the Nigerian economy. That has been how many people have opened your account here? If open your account here, how many people? You've opened your account. Oh, that's cool. You've opened your account. I've opened mine as well. Did you say you've opened yours? Oh, you have? Did he ask you for your state of origin? Yeah, because it was a friend of mine who is from Germany said he was asking him for state of origin. I don't know whether it's been updated. Okay, Mr. Omar is here. Mic check, sir. Can you hear us? You're muted. You're muted.
Good morning.
All right, morning, Mr. Omar. You have 20 minutes to share with us on eNaira and the Nigerian economy. Over to you, sir.
Okay, good morning. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. It's a very good opportunity for us to be able to talk to people who we have engaged previously in the course of the eNaira project in Nigeria. Just to make it short, maybe these are issues we have had discussions with, or people are asking, because now I had you raising one of the issues that about state of origin when people want to onboard. We'll come to that. Basically, the eNaira and the Nigerian economy, what we look at is what is the level of development of the Nigerian system. If you look at the evolution of money from the barter era to the area where we have physical objects, then we have paper money, gold, credit cards, electronic money, and now the era of digital currency. There has been a lot of mileage that has been covered during that period. The payment landscape in Nigeria has significantly evolved with the rise in the digital payment, with new market rules and players who are changing by the day. Last week, the central bank granted approval in principle to two payment service banks, Airtel and MTN, which is an addition to the system, to the development in the market. Digital payments have consequently grown with about 2.7 billion transactions valued about 162.9 trillion in 2020, which shows that there's a lot of activity going on. But all the same, if you look at it, cash is still there. There's still a large usage of cash, and the use of cash is a lot of problem for many players. What are the policies that CBN have done over the years to achieve some of the mileage that we have? If you look at under division payment system vision 2020, so many things were planned to be done within the period. And during that period, we had things like cash light or cashless, and then we have the Nigerian Financial Inclusion Strategy, which was launched. We have the bank verification number, which is a very noble idea that has helped us to determine, to authenticate owners of accounts and so on. And then you have the SINF, which is the shared agents network expansion facility. And then now you have the license of the payment service banks. Now, what is driving central banks to go for digital currency? Basically, the use of cash is declining, both locally and globally. There are some countries that don't have cash at all, or they have very minimal cash, that you have to look for areas where they will accept your cash. Then you have digital payments that are rising significantly. Then you have private monies, the cryptocurrencies, which seems to be filling the gap that central banks may have ignored over the period. CBN did not ignore that area. Way back to 2017, there was a committee that was looking into the activities evolving around the cryptocurrency. Now, if you look at the trend in the world now, over 90 central banks are now considering one option or another for the digital currency. So what is the objective of the CBDC for the Nigerian economy? Basically, the main objectives include empowerment and poverty reduction. If you want to target, government want to target payment to certain sectors, whether conditional cash transfers or unconditional cash transfer or trader money and so on. They can do it directly to the beneficiaries, quoting link men or any other abuse that will be in the system. Then you have financial inclusion. Many people who are the current plan for the eNaira is in different phases. We have not gone to the phase where people who are unbanked, who don't have bank accounts, can do. Now we are just doing people who have bank accounts, but we'll come to the era where we use USSD codes and people can go to network operators in their environment or agency to be able to do their transaction. Then we are hoping that it will improve monetary and financial stability policies. We'll have a kind of better view of all the money is supply in the ecosystem, and that will help us to determine to come up with better monetary policies. Then you have the issue of improved FX position, which means the IMTOs and the fintechs are likely going to play a very leading role in ensuring that people who want to make remittances into Nigeria in foreign currency will be considered. It's not in the first phase, but it's part of the phases that we are going to consider. Then you have the growth in cross-border trade, where particularly with the Pan-African payment system, where we expect that trade will be easier. We are hoping that if you are in Ghana and you have money here, you don't need to have a currency of that country for it to trade. You'll be able to use your digital currency and pay for that service. Or if somebody is coming from Ghana to buy things in Nigeria, if he has a wallet, because we have banks that are operating outside, Nigerian banks that are operating in other countries. So the eNaira project. The eNaira project commenced with the setting up the committee by the manager of central bank to come up with the modality for the implementation of the digital currency. We have a technical working committee, which is headed by the Deputy Governor, Economic Policy, and then they have membership from 8 departments. That's payment system, currency, ITD, banking supervision, trade and exchange. You have consumer protection. You have legal, and you have financial policy and regulation. These are the people that worked around the system, the eNaira, leading to the launch by the bank. The eNaira was launched on 25th of October by the president, and since then we have been watching and seeing the level of adoption and usage. It may not be what we expect that we anticipate that in the first place maybe we'll have between 300 and 1 million people who will on board, but with time we are expecting more people will come on board. So what are the key design principles that we had in mind? We said whatever we are going to bring should be something that would it is a new form of money that will be introduced, but it's expected that it will not disrupt the system. Then we want it to coexist with the different forms of money already in use, and then we want to use the principles of innovation and efficiency to drive it so that things will be better for everybody. So the key security consideration we had was confidentiality, availability, and integrity, because we feel whatever is there, if it's not secured or is not available when you need it, or it doesn't have integrity, it's of no use to anybody. So the eNaira design system is designed with key design elements including architecture, infrastructure, assets, and technology, which was carefully chosen to attain the objectives of the eNaira and harness its potential for Nigerian economy. Currently, what we have various tiers. Okay, the approach we took was the two-tier system, where we have the central bank and the financial institutions that will be players in the system. While in other jurisdictions, some do wholesale, but we are choosing the retail two-tier system so that other players can effectively participate in the activity around the eNaira. So currently we have a consumer wallet that is tied to structure. Like we have zero tier, that's non-account holders. We have tier one, which is non-account holders that have some form of verification, like NIN. But 2 and 3 are basically those who have full verification, authentication, like the KYC and AML requirements and the VBN. So those are the ones that are basically covered now. Sorry. So some of the lessons we learned is the fact that we have to look at the CBN Act to see whether it gives us permission to do another form of currency. But luckily, we have Section 19 which gives us the option to issue any currency in any form or device that we feel is going to be useful. Then the adoption of a two-tier model and an account-based Cbdc mitigated against this intermediation. There was a lot of fear being expressed by financial institutions that they are going to lose out on that. And that's why CBN made some provision that on merchant wallets that are that don't have limit, there will be provision for sweeping on the next day so that the level of amount that will stay in the wallet will not be too much to reduce the quantum of money in the banks. And for customers, I think at this level now we're doing just a maximum of 200,000, but when it is fully implemented, we expect that the balance on individual wallets will not be more than 5 million naira. Then you have you have to balance privacy and transparency. Many people are asking what is the difference between an e-wallet and issued by a bank and the eNaira that is issued by a central bank. The basic difference is that if you move money from your commercial bank from your bank to an e-wallet of that same bank, the money still resides with that bank. But when you move the money to eNaira, that one becomes a liability of the Central Bank of Nigeria, which means it's fiat money, it's the same naira, just like cash. So that's the basic difference between the two. And another basic issue is that people should take note that, unlike where banks open accounts, CBN does not open accounts. CBN have wallets for people, and that's what we do. And that's why we can handle the liabilities of people that have adopted the wallets. So we have had some challenges, basically accuracy of database. At the beginning, it was discovered that information in some databases like BBN, which we relied on, were incomplete and inaccurate. Like only 5% of registered BBN users have active email addresses, or some of them, when they abandon the emails they use, and that's why when they send activation code for the wallet, some of them don't get to see it. But we have done some workaround, and I think it's easier now. People are free to put emails that are not necessarily the ones they put when they register the BBN. Or sometimes you have issues about special characters that people use on their names, or like hash, dash, underscore, and so on. So, but many of them, as time evolves, we are hoping that things will get better. The literacy level, up to now, there's a lot of, the public has a perception that CBDC is same with cryptocurrency. So we have to work and tell them, look, the eNaira is not tradable. The crypto is tradable. So if you want to trade, it's not in the eNaira. And then we have to continue to engage stakeholders. Luckily, during this process, we have engaged members of this association who give us valuable inputs into things they feel if we consider them will make the eNaira a better product. I think in summary, that's the what we have so far. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for Mr. Umar, Director, Currency Operations at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Would you like to take any questions, sir, from the audience?
Yes.
You would love to. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, who has a question for either from the audience on site or even online? Does anyone have any question for him? You want to ask any question whatsoever? Is there any question online? So, are you confirming that now that that foreigners can register without necessarily adding state of origin?
Well, at the technical committee meeting, we have considered that some of the people who have accounts in Nigeria are not necessarily people that are from any of the states in Nigeria. The difficulty at the design level was the fact that some of the addresses you have some of the names we have for streets and towns, they have special characters that was difficult for them at the beginning. But we are hoping that we'll work around it, and we have recognized the fact that there are many people who are doing businesses in Nigeria who are not necessarily citizens of Nigeria. So we'll work around that, and we hold regular meeting. We have one today, and I will take this one as part of the things that we need to quickly work around.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, we'll have to let him go if there are no other questions here. Any question online? Okay, all right. Well, I guess that, oh, there's a question. All right, please. There's a question for you. And she said she has opened her eNaira account. That was why I had to ask her how she did it. Maybe you tell us.
Sir, I want to ask a question about the eNaira and the bank. What's the impact will the eNaira take to the banks, the app or the banks?
Are you saying whether what we do is we ensure that onboarding is through the bank. So before you can onboard, you have to go through the bank's app, and that's why we implemented the two-tier approach. We don't want to disintermediate the banks, and that's why we gave them a role, because the money, when you are transferring to eNaira, you are doing it from a bank account. And when you are withdrawing from your eNaira, you are moving it back to your bank account. So that's why banks have a very key role, and then you have to use the bank app for you to be able to fund, or we will reach a level where you can walk into a bank and then maybe pay cash and ask a bank to load the equivalence on your eNaira or an agent. But we have not done that level. That's tier 0. We have not done that.
Okay, thank you. And another question. I'm sorry. I want to know the original reason for the eNaira. Is it for the finance inclusion, or do you have any other reason?
Okay. The first reason for us, the cost of currency management is enormous. You know, Nigeria is large. We have to move money across the country for people to be served. It's costing us money, and we're looking for the serious adoption of the cashless policy. We have had issues with the implementation. Initially, it was segmented into some towns, and then at a point, there was even a court that said, no, why are we only implementing only some part of Nigeria? I'm hoping that CBN management will quickly leverage on the current decision of the High Court and say, okay, let's do it across Nigeria, because what it means is that we have some laws, they are like the anti-money laundering, that says you cannot do transactions in cash up to certain amount. So if we keep to that, it's easier for everybody. It will reduce cash, the cost of cash handling. You move less cash. You will not spend so much money on storage and so on. But then financial inclusion too is key. There are so many people who don't have a bank account. Even though the requirement for opening a bank account is so low. And then if you look at the way banks are operating now, many of them are not opening new branches because there are new technologies that you don't need to have a physical branch. So if you can't, you have to provide an alternative. And that's why we said last week's approval in principle for two PSBs, MTN and Airtel, is a further development to reinforce that. But you know, we have the shared agents network expansion facility, that's the SANEF, which is intended to broaden the net of people who were excluded previously from the financial system. So we are hoping that the main gain we see is a situation where you can walk into the person selling granite on the street and just use your eNaira to pay him, so that it will be easy, it is fast, and he doesn't need to handle his contactless, especially now that is in this era of COVID. I think it is it's a win-win for everybody and for the environment too.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have a last question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm interested in the eNaira, for the eNaira, we should have an ecosystem, including the merchant, including the retail, all the people. So how long do you think we will build this ecosystem in Nigeria?
Well, you see, the project is supposed to run up to September next year, so that we'll be able to have the 4 phases that we have anticipated. And even when you complete the 4 phases, you may have some new emerging issues that would come. Assuming, how do you treat people who are visually impaired? How do you handle those cases? These are new things that may come up even after you complete your distance. What we are doing is we are leveraging on the information that is available from all the different sources, including key implementers that are there, either at pilot stage or in full for us to see what we can get from them to improve our system. And then we are open to suggestions. That's why we have our contact is there. Maybe helpdesk at enaira.gov.ng is available for people who want to send suggestions or they want to seek help. We have not foreclosed our desire to learn from other people. Everybody is learning from each other. There is no expert currently on CBDC, because I don't think what we leverage on was maybe the World Economic Forum design considerations, and then the worksheets they have. You try to just build a template where you'll be able to roll out and see. As you do, the governor of Central Bank made one key statement. He said, eNaira is not an event, it's a journey. So we have started the journey, and the journey is barely 2 weeks officially. And we are hoping that maybe before the year runs out, before we run the full course of the project, there will be a lot of refinements that will see that things stabilize and people are happy with it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Mark, so can you say to us that there are already transactions happening now? Can you confirm that?
Yes, transactions are happening. I don't know, you are based in Lagos. I don't know here in Abuja. I know we have merchants that are using them. It's not up to the level we expect. But some of the issues that maybe you will get. You have a franchise that have different owners. You understand? One big company, but it's a franchise owned by different people. So even if you create, idea is that you have a single wallet. If you create for one now, you have to be able to have sub-wallets. And that's things that we're working on to make sure that the fact that you are ABC Nigeria Limited, another one is ABC, but they have different ownership, we can be able to handle them differently and be able to identify them correctly. So transactions are happening here in the CBN here, our canteen. We basically use the eNaira to pay the 2 caterers that are there, MEMS and Crystal Plate. We have big shops here like Sahad stores that use it. So they have decals there where they said eNaira is accepted. And every day we try to see. And all the banks have already requested for eNaira for their customers. But the level of usage is, I know maybe Lagos is large, and before you have large areas where you have merchants using it, it will take some time. But then Lagos is key. We have to target it and make sure that we have we onboard as many merchants as possible so that when you load, it will not remain on your wallet just for show. It has to be used effectively to achieve the desired objectives. Thank you. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Mr. Ahmed, I think we may have lost them.
Yeah.
I can hear you loud and clear. Clearly, they can't hear us. But thank you very much. That was a fantastic explanation.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you. We'll continue our engagement with you so that at least it's an open field. People will learn new things from everybody. So we are open to engagements with different stakeholders.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. And we will provide the required support and exposure as well to make sure this succeeds. You're doing very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. We missed that. Maybe we'll get the record. So we missed that.
We lost you guys. So we'll continue online.
That was good. Thank you for stepping in. But I'll just take the last shot, even though I wanted you to. But can you say quickly about that, just for the benefit of the people on site, because we lost you. You said there are transactions already happening on the platform now.
Yes.
Okay. Any idea of the volume? Can we know the volume that's happening now?
No, I don't have the records actually, because we are doing so many things. We want to see by volume, by currency in circulation, by the owners of the wallet, to see the movements around, just for monetary purpose. Because if we decide at a certain time that oh, there is so much money in circulation, what do? We have to look at the numbers, and it will help us to see what we are doing. What I was saying was that the number of merchants that are onboarded is not so significant to feel the impact now, but we are just barely 2 weeks. And we are hoping that as more people adopt and more places use it, you will have it. In our premises here, the people that are providing catering services, we use the eNaira to pay them because it's easier for everybody. And you know, all the fears that people had, oh, if they have so much eNaira, what do they do with it? You can move it back to your account, especially for merchants. We didn't put any cap on what they can spend or have as balance. It's just that maybe overnight we'll implement a sweeping policy so that we don't have so much money out of the banking system.
All right.
Otherwise, we'll defeat the purpose of the two-tier.
Okay. One final question, super important question. What is the plan to integrate fintechs on the eNaira? Because I've not seen any fintech yet.
At least we had some engagements, but the phases are many. We have 4 phases. We have the IMTOs, which were supposed to be in the second phase, and then we have the use of the SSD codes and so on. So I will take it back to the technical working committee, and then we'll have a formal discussion, just like we got across to you when we were doing the design considerations. So there will be a lot of things that the fintechs can do for the improvement of the system and for the adoption of the eNaira.
All right. Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for Umar Ahmed Bello, Director, Currency Operations at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Thank you for your time this morning and for enlightening us about eNaira. You know, let's hope that more and more Nigerians, you know, adopt it, you know, and CBN works with stakeholders to build confidence and trust. And let's hope that, you know, it leads to more transformation. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. We'll jump to the